Hello, my name is Jacob Folger and I'm an artist, and today I'm going to show you how to make a fairy moss garden, and we're going to do it inside this glass cube, and it's going to be enclosed. Moss has been around since the beginning of the world pretty much, and it is not a vascular plant, so that means that it can survive year-round. Ice and snow does not bother it, so that means that you could basically put this outdoors on your deck or something like that, as long as it's not in direct sunlight. You don't want the sun beaming down on it. It likes the shade, likes plenty of moisture, and in this glass jar, it will survive just fine as long as it's a good tight seal. You might want to check it for moisture from time to time. And moss can be handled. You can touch it. They call it nature's carpet. I actually believe, and I think other people do as well, that there's some good energy that comes from moss, and it's actually healthy to be around. And we're going to be using, so there's actually a few different types of moss here, and different colors and textures, and so I'm going to show you how I'll use those different colors and textures to create a really interesting scene inside this glass jar. We also have these little fairy houses, and there's going to be a link or link to the other videos where you'll learn how to make these little houses, little videos that I've done, and we also have stones, and for drainage inside we have pebbles, small stones, and we have some soil. And the soil, I want to tell you, I actually dug it out from underneath a tree in my yard. It's a nice, rich, dark soil, and so we want to use that. Now, moss does not require soil, but the soil holds moisture. So again, moss likes moisture. It does not like to be soaking wet, so you have to be careful not to overwater it. But basically, it does like moisture. And so we're going to get started, and I'm going to show you how to use some basically, first of all, I just wanted to tell you, I'm going to do the jar like this, laying on its side, and set the lid there off to the side. And I want to tell you that you don't have to buy expensive terrarium or moss garden tools to do this project. You can use just household utensils like this to do it. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to put some stones and pebbles and rocks inside on the floor of the jar. And this will provide drainage. It also lifts the soil up off the bottom, so that if by chance you were to overwater, it would keep the soil up off the water, and that's one of the benefits of the little pebbles and stones. You know, I've got big hands, so you can also take your rocks and put them in a spoon like this to get them in the back like that. And you may have to do that with the soil as well. So you just want to get a nice layer there. Okay. And now we'll start working with the soil here. I'm just going to move some things around, and I'm going to use a spoon to put the soil in. And I just want to basically get an okay covering in there. When you are preparing your jar, if you need to clean it, you might want to make sure it's good and dry before you do that, before you start the actual building of your fairy garden, because if you don't let it dry, the soil and everything will stick to the side of the jar and the inside and make it difficult to clean up later. So I want to just get a good layer here. I also want to show you that, let's say this jar was too long for the spoon, you can take a butter knife and tape it to either a fork or a spoon to give you longer reach. And sometimes I do that. Okay. Just filling it up. See how level that is in there. Just try to level it out a little bit. Okay. And now that's probably enough soil. And now what I like to do with my my moss gardens is I like to do different colors in different locations of the garden, so that, because and also using stones and that sort of thing, because a change in contrast will draw the eye of the people viewing it from one place to another. But if it was all one color and the same contrast straight across the board, it would not do that, and it just makes it a lot more interesting. So I'm going to take this nice big piece here, and this is a nice tight mesh of moss, and it's a medium green color. Now, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to use my spoon to put it in there, because I can't get my big hand in there. And I'm just going to put it in the back, spread it out, and I'll just press down. Now, when you're planting moss, you don't really, it doesn't have roots, so you're not burning the roots or anything like that. There we go. Now I'll use this. This is a different moss. This is more of, they call a mood moss, and it has longer little pieces of the plant itself. I'm going to put that right there. Just press it into place. I really love doing these. I have such a passion for it. And you know, basically I got the moss nearby at the local cemetery. I went up there and that's where I got the moss. They have plenty of it up there, lots of trees and that sort of thing where it likes to grow. And I went up there this morning. It rained yesterday, so the moss is really lively looking today. The best time to go out looking for moss is after it's rained. This is what they call a moss ball, and it's just a small little piece, and we'll just put that there for a little added texture. I got a little bit of soil there. I want to just move that off there. This is a piece of tree bark that has lichen on it. It's not moss, it's lichen, but it's really a pretty color. I think I might just put that alongside there. Okay, so now we're getting close to the end here, and you can see it's the soil is coming down at a slope, but you know, moss can grow at a slant, of course, on hills, on rocks. It can grow on a vertical surface. So you can just go ahead and fill that in. I wanted to tell you also that when you go out to hunt for moss, if you live in an area that's got some humidity and fair amount of moisture, that's where you're going to find moss more than likely. To pick it, oftentimes you can just slide your fingers underneath it and just pick it right up. You also can use a butter knife. That's what I use, is a butter knife. So the moss will be laying there on the ground, and I'll just slide the butter knife up underneath it and just pick it right up. This can be a very inexpensive project. I actually got this glass jar at the local thrift store, and I think it was $2.99 if I recall correctly. You can use a paintbrush just to sweep it off once you start to build it up in there and you get the moss, and sometimes a little bit of dirt gets in there. You can just sweep it off. Okay, so now I want to put some rocks up in there. I've got some rocks here also that I picked up when I was collecting my moss. And you can use a spoon to put it back in there, like this. Let's get it where you want it. Maybe press it into place. Maybe and you can see now, you can see what I mean by changing contrast and color to so that the eye is being drawn into different parts. So I think definitely a rock here. This is an interesting rock. It has little holes in it. It looks like you might find it at the beach. Put that right there. And then maybe just a smaller rock, one that's got some interesting texture like this one. I'll put that right there and press it down just so it stays better. And then we can put in our houses. Now the houses, again, there'll be a video referral, a link to a video or something on this video that will tell you how to make these houses out of polymer clay. They are waterproof, and these little houses here are very small in comparison to the ones that I actually teach you how to make, but you just downsized. That's all you do. You downsize the design and the instructions so that the houses are smaller. They have a little pin on them, so you can stick them into the soil and they'll stay there like that. Isn't that cute? I'm gonna put one right here. Wow, I just love it. Now for if you're trying to put a house in the back area when you can't reach in there, you can take a pair of pliers. This is actually a pair of snips, but it will work. And hold it on the end here. Just get it back in there and set it into place. May take a little bit of doing to get it done, but should work. There we go. There we go. So we got a nice little town here, and there is a fairy moss garden. Now, and just a few other things. If you have moss like this, where it's longer, more grass-like, you can take little pieces of it. Keeping in mind it does not need soil. The jar, the interior of the jar is going to create a humid atmosphere when it closes, when it's closed. And the moss should be okay. In fact, it should be very happy. The one thing you do want to check is if it's not a tight seal like this. This has got a pretty tight seal, but it's still not perfect. You definitely want to check it maybe once every 2 or 3 weeks until you get used to how the moisture is in there. You don't want it soaking wet. To water it, you can take a mister like this and just spray it gently like that, just to create enough moisture to keep everything happy in there. And you can paint your houses, of course, but you want to use exterior paint because it's this is basically going to be outside. That's what it is. It's outside on the inside. One thing you should also know that you do not want to put this in direct sunlight. You want to keep it out of the direct sunlight, but you don't want it in a dark room without a window either. You just want to find a happy medium there. And moss sometimes, and when it's really happy, it might do this. This is a terrarium I made a while ago, a moss garden I made, and you can see the moss is standing up. It looks kind of strange, but it's standing up like that, and I call it dancing. If you can see it okay through the without the reflections on there. So if you see your moss start to do that, it's not terribly unusual. Sometimes it has to do with how much sunlight you're giving it, but I think also it has something to do with the humidity and the fact that moss likes humidity a lot. And so there you are. You just seal it up here. There we go. It's a nice tight seal there. And that is how you make a fairy garden inside glass. Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, please click on the like button. Please leave a comment. Tell me what you think of this video. And subscribe to my channel. I have over 300 videos on how to do a lot of different things like this, and how to sculpt clay and make fairies and fairy houses and all kinds of things. And you can also visit my website at jacobfolger.com. Thanks again for watching.